Gotta wear the dress. The black actor got to somehow wear the dress. Gotta wear the dress. The black actor got to somehow wear the dress.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
or play some kind of feminine role, or
now,
some feminine character.
Exactly. Now, give me an example.
Tyler Perry.
And this ain't got nothing to do with no gay community, because I'm gonna tell you something. The white gay community is in on it too, because hell, that's all doggone Hollywood is. It's white gay community. But whenever they want to, see, it's interesting how they do things. Whenever they want to push the envelope, they'll get a black person to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So soon as Dennis Rodman put on the dress, he got a TV show.
Right.
Back in the 90s. And soon as we knew about a RuPaul, next thing you know, this brother got his TV show. And we got several people can't get a TV show. We got the black woman that's forced out of Hollywood now. You see what I'm saying? They got the TV show. Now let me give you an example of what happened here. As we know that Dave Chappelle came on Oprah, and he talked about how he had heard this conspiracy on how they had to wear the dress, and how he went on a movie set with Martin Lawrence, and he was appearing in a movie with Martin Lawrence, and he got in his trailer and had a dress hanging up, and he said, you know what, why I got to wear this dress? He said, I've heard about these stories about, why I got, about the black actors, in order to cement your place in Hollywood, you got to do something, either something derogatory or something about getting killed. You wear the dress and basically getting shot in the behind. That's the other one. But he said, why I got to wear the dress? So he said, I'm not wearing it. And the director said, no, you got to do this and all. We paid a lot of money for the scene, blah, blah, blah. He said, I'm not. He said, it went on about 15 minutes. He said, and then the producer came in and they went on. He said, I ain't wearing the dress. He said, in 15 minutes, they walked out and came back 15 minutes later with another script. It was almost like they said they had a script that was written already where you didn't have to wear the dress, but they put this in here, you see what I'm saying? As a thing that they do to black people.
Right.
Because a lot of times when they make these movies, a lot of times these movies are written for white people, and then they figure based on the demographics they can make more money by getting that black element in, because they figure it will fail and go to video with some white if it's not strong enough for the white artist. So they put the black people in, and it's $1 million movie.
Right.
I mean, a million people sell make up so many millions on the first weekend.
Hey, welcome to Southern California, KPFK, Brother Steve Coakley.
Hey, good evening, brother.
One of our great researchers that have exposed the Boule, a phenomenon that most of us in the movement never knew about until you came, brought light, took the sheets off of these Negro Klan members and explained to us what the Boule is all about. So what we'd like you to do is tell us the history of the Boule, who the Boule are, their origins, and the relationship to the ruling class.
This secret society, this particular black secret society that we'll talk about today, is the first of the black Greek societies, started in 1904, and that word that you said, Boule, is actually an acronym. It's a Sigma Pi Phi. Sigma Pi Phi, 1904 in Philadelphia. For most of our people, we are not prepped to the responsibility of secret society in the American society. And this founding constitution, this illegal criminal enterprise, was a Masonic affair. Masonry is a form of secret society. There are other well-known secret societies like Skull and Bones at Yale, of which this corrupt president and his father were members of. And it is that society that the black society modeled itself after. So when they wrote their first history book, The History of Sigma Pi Phi, by a very noted black author, university president Charles Wesley, who wrote the history book for the Elks, the Prince Hall Masons, National Council of Negro Women, Alpha Phi Alpha, and Sigma Pi Phi. And as a result, in page 28 of its first history book, it noted that it wanted to be like Skull and Bones at Yale. That it wanted to be like Skull and Bones at Yale.
Not only do you have to wear the dress, Wayne Rames had to wear the dress.
Wrestling.
Wesley Snipes had to wear the dress. Chris Tucker wore a little flimsy feminine outfit on Fifth Element.
Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence has to wear the dress. Will Smith wore the dress. Just about, all of them wore the dresses. It's interesting here. One guy he was a faggot in life, and then he did the Joanna Man or Vagina Man or whatever that thing was, that movie.
Right.
And then there was he wore a dress, and then not only that, one of the brothers, I can't think of the brother name, he was from the 70s, he was an actor, and he was on Steve Harvey in the last couple of years, and he used to be on Good Times. I can't think of the guy's name, but he wore a dress in 1987. So they always have this thing with, and this thing started with Flip Wilson, because we asked this question: how did Flip Wilson get a show in the 1970s?
Playing Geraldine.
Geraldine in 1971. It was the whole Geraldine thing. So we got a history of this.
It was right here in Los Angeles at the Good Life on a Friday night. If you remember this time, the NAACP had a convention here, and LeGrand Klieg and Marla Gibbs were accused of making inflammatory statements. That weekend, the Boule was meeting here, July of 1990. They were having their twice every other year convention, biannual. And it was a front-page article in the L.A. Times by Karen Grigsby Gates, who denoted that these elite black men were meeting in Los Angeles at this time. That was the first. I remember sending someone to the car to bring it in, and we read it from the stage of the Boule on July 18th, the day the story appeared, front page L.A. Times. And I thought it was unusual that the L.A. Times knew of this society, and I didn't know of them. Now, for our audience to understand, I'm starting off trying to explain to black people the impact of international policy groups like the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, when the bankers began to take over the American cities in the 70s, New York 75, Cleveland 77, Chicago 79, and here in California they used Proposition 13 to suck up the surplus out the budget, and bankers began to take over from municipalities the governing of the cities. And as I was scratching, I could not figure out how was there such black complicity in this centralization of worldwide power, the New World Order. It's on the dollar bill, pyramid by white men who never built one, never saw one, but they emulated this symbol. And now comes a series of societies, and now comes forth this black one in 1904. Boule, B-O-U-L-E, the Greek version. There's a French version that's a coming together, a conclave, the AKA called their convention, the Boule. But the Greek word is what we're looking for, the advisors to the king. The lower house of the Greek parliament is called Boule. And if you know the American congressional system, Senate, 6 years, more power, authority, only 100, 2 per state. Congress, 435, have to run every 2 years. Your lower house has less power and authority. So it appears as if, in finding the Boule, that within it was a subordination to something else. And in its history book, it drew attention. Here's a logo, and this is their logo is a Grecian sphinx. It's an animal, and this Grecian sphinx is similar to a griffin or a gargoyle. Kind of ironically, the Boule had their convention in Los Angeles in 1941. And where else? Griffin Park. And this logo, this symbol, is a guardian animal. This would be similar to a Rottweiler or a dog or a German Shepherd. They tend to protect something higher than itself. They tend to protect something higher than itself.
Late developments in the Bill Cosby case, a potential bombshell in the case. The comedian accused by so many women of drugging them and sexually abusing them, he has maintained his innocence. But tonight, the Associated Press now uncovering what they say is an admission under oath, answering yes when asked if he was going to use drugs, Quaaludes, on young women. ABC's Gio Benitez leading us off.
After more than 30 women accused Bill Cosby of drugging or sexually assaulting them, for the first time, word tonight that Cosby himself reportedly admitted to drugging at least one woman he wanted to have sex with. The Associated Press reporting the 77-year-old makes the stunning admission in a 2005 deposition, seen here in an excerpt, answering yes when asked if he was using Quaaludes for young women that you wanted to have sex with. The depo, part of a lawsuit from a former Temple University employee. Cosby's lawyers had objected, saying it would embarrass Cosby. Just this May, ABC's Lindsay Davis asked Cosby about the allegations.
This is a situation that's unprecedented. My family my friends, I have been in this business 52 years, and I've never seen anything like this.
I showed in Chicago and Cincinnati, which had one of the best boycotts of any city.
That's right.
It is. I mean, it was, and it still went on. Just last weekend, they tried to come back with a big festival. Mary J. Blige pulled out. Some more people pulled out. Kind of made it lose money. And but there in Cincinnati, we targeted 3 people: the Taft family, which runs the state, Skull and Bones. Taft family still today. The governor was just left as governor. We targeted Procter and Gamble, and we targeted Carl Linder, who owned Chiquita Bananas. And when we got through harassing Chiquita Bananas, some of our friends at the radio station there had stock, $119 a share. When we finished with him, it went to $5.40 a share, and he sold Chiquita. Now, what I'm trying to say is there's a vulnerability in America that has not been exercised by our community because our secret societies have been pledged never to tell us those vulnerabilities. They work for them. They patch them. They protect them. They act like they don't exist, but they serve them. And they never utter against them, even never whisper to us. If you saw on that Boule tape when we were there messing at the convention, I told my buddies, we're not here to recruit them. We don't want them to be better brothers. We want to warn them that if they're the guard dog on white supremacy, when we jump the fence, what you going to do? You going to bite, you going to fight, or you going to run out and let us get to who we after? But how do we get to who we after when we got all this wing and wang out here, all this distraction, all this misfocusing, and then is there complicity in our community? When some people killed Martin King, when some people killed Malcolm X, did that neutralize our present leadership, who are byproducts of assassination? There is a web. There is a web. There's sports. They're the media. They're education. They're social service. They're astronauts. They're the church. They are all of that. They are the secret societies, too. And they all work in a loose-knit fashion, and they keep disagreements within a manageable limit.
Did you know that 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence were Freemasons? I'm going into your secrets for a minute. Not you, Black Mason and Shriner. You don't have any secret. It's the white Masons and Shriners that we're going to expose in a minute.
America is in love with Samuel Jackson, right? Don't get me wrong. This brother can act. He can act. But have you ever asked yourself, how did he get the roles of Star Wars? I mean, that's a pretty important role, don't you think? That role don't come by everybody very easily. So how did he get the role? Well, people, I got some shocking news. Samuel Jackson got the role in Star Wars after he had sex with the owner, George Lucas. Yeah, owner, director / George Lucas is very satanic. Check this out. These are his 2 daughters. What do you see? This ain't coincidence, man. This is how they get down. Samuel Jackson had sex with George Lucas.